Okay, this week's episode, I always say every episode's a good one. I need a new term. I need some new terminology. Anyway, this one's gonna be good. This one's good. That's what we say. My dad says, "Ooh, this one's good." Okay, so this one's good. My friend Nigel Gaff is back. He is the medium that was here before. I don't know how long ago. Several months ago, he was on. Oh, a year ago? Was it? A year ago. Okay. He's written a book. It's called Reflections of the English Medium. For those of you that can see it, I'm holding it up to the camera now. It's available on Amazon. And I think I'd like to include a link in my description so that you can just hit the link and buy his book. He talks about his life from, I guess it's kind of a memoir. I actually haven't read it yet. He just brought it to me today, but I'm looking forward to reading it. It's about kind of how he discovered his ability to be a medium, to speak to spirit, and how that developed. It's about living in a haunted house. It's about his daughter surviving cancer. She had it when she was 8. I think there's a lot in this book, and it's not too large for those of my friends who don't like to read really long books. It's only about 200 pages, so easy read. Fast and easy. Great conversation we had about different ways to talk to spirit, about different types of healing, about hypnotism, about past lives, about the spirit I have in my house. I think it was a really good episode. So thanks for coming back and listening to Wife of the Party this week with Nigel Gaff. We have a visitor at our other house. We can't really figure out who he is, but Isla and I keep both seeing it out of the corner of our eye.
Okay.
So we both have seen it completely separate of each other at the bottom of our stairs.
Right.
So, how did we get on the subject of this? She said to me, I think we need to sage the house. And I said, why? She said, because I keep seeing something out of the corner of my eye at the bottom of the stairs. And I went, oh my God, I have been too. I also am seeing something when I sit at my kitchen island at my front door and just outside my kitchen window.
Okay.
So and it looks like a black flash.
Okay.
Just
something out the corner of your eye.
Yes, and every time I turn, it's gone.
There's nothing there.
But I see it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's moving.
Yeah. Often you'll see a small white light as well at the corner of your eye.
I have not seen that.
Yeah,
it's always
often.
black.
It's okay. Okay.
Or dark, gray, black.
Well, maybe I need to pop round there at some point, and if you want me to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because Isla and I saged the house, and I actually haven't seen it since we saged.
Okay. It's probably just leveled the energy a bit. So yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, but both of us saw it at the bottom of the stairs. She saw it. I don't live upstairs. Her room's upstairs, and she saw it upstairs a bunch too.
Okay.
So what is it?
Nothing to worry about. Just energy. Somebody that once lived there before maybe, or somebody that, wants to see what's going on. I mean, if you don't have any bad feelings about it, if it doesn't perturb you in any way, then it's really nothing to worry about.
No, it doesn't scare me.
No.
I just went, somebody's here. The first time I saw it, I thought, somebody's here. And then when I saw it again, I was like, oh, someone's really here.
Yeah.
Someone is here. And then I kept seeing it often, really often.
Yeah.
But it's gone.
We're never on our own, really, are we?
No.
Not really. We think we are. We're never on our own.
No.
It always amazes me when people say that they pass away. When people pass away, that they fall asleep. We actually wake up when we pass away. We don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
We become aware. We wake up. Absolutely. We're in somewhat of a dream at the moment. Really, this reality is somewhat of a dream in some respect or another.
Now, do you think what do you think about? I don't even know how to describe this, but coming back over and over to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
I believe we do that.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Many times. I've been backwards and forwards. And every time I wake up, at some point think to myself, what am I doing back here again? Why am I back again? What have I got to learn this time? Because that's what the soul's purpose is, to evolve. And the quickest way for the soul to evolve, to draw back to source energy, is to have life after life after life.
Right.
The more lives we have, the more evolved the soul becomes, and the more it draws close to say God,
right,
granddaughter of the divine source energy.
So, are you ever finished?
Yeah, eventually.
You think so?
When the soul is, when the soul has evolved enough to go back to source energy and give back to source energy.
Interesting.
Yeah, source energy is your true parentage, your true mum and dad. That's the spark of light.
Right.
Yeah, that's your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your soul.
It's your soul, yeah. And your soul is incomplete here. There's only about 30% of your soul that exists here, really.
30%?
Roughly there. 70% of it exists in spirit. Thereabouts. I'm not great with numbers, but
most of it's somewhere else, is what you're saying.
It's in spirit, yeah. Because if we had the full complement of our soul, we'd know everything, right? So we'd know where we're from, we know what it's all about. We'd remember every life we'd ever had. We'd know why we're here. There would be total purpose, and we're really not allowed that. Otherwise, the soul won't evolve, really.
Right, which is our purpose also.
The soul is constantly to evolve,
right,
life after life, in different forms, to be rich, to be poor, to die young, to die old, all different types, really.
So fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
What we don't know is so immense about everything.
It is, absolutely. We are generally unconscious. We just believe we're conscious.
Isn't that the truth? And if you think about the people, the most conscious people you know, and juxtapose them to other people, it's amazing how asleep at the wheel most people are just in their day-to-day activity, not to mention their awareness of spirituality or, a higher power or connections energetically with other people. I think not a lot of people walking around thinking about that or aware of that, concerned with that.
Absolutely. Well, we are for the biggest part an unconscious.
Here comes your tea.
Species. Mum, I cup of tea.
You heard us. Thank
you so much. No, that's fine. That's lovely. Thanks very much indeed. Yeah, we are. You're absolutely right. For the most part, we're unconscious, really. We just believe that. Well, we do have a consciousness, obviously, because, for instance, like now we're having a conversation now. So we're the ability to reason, to be able to talk. But beyond that, we're not really, because we look, but we don't see. So we listen, but we don't really hear. We touch, but we don't feel, because these senses are far more heightened outside of our awareness within the spirit realms to what we truly are. Yeah, somewhat of confusion, I suppose, to a degree.
Well, is it confusion, though? Because, I don't know, I think we also are given that which we can handle.
Absolutely. Oh, no.
So, luckily, I know I believe my younger daughter definitely sees ghosts, spirits. I think she always has since she was very little, because she's always been very afraid to be alone in her room. And she always had their people in her closet. And I, when she was older, a medium actually told her that she was a medium and told her not to be afraid of it. And you have to have some boundaries and say, don't come to me now, come to me later. And this is when and how. And I think that has been hard for her. She doesn't get a lot of rest. She has migraines. And I think it's related because it's hard. And I don't know what to tell her,
Sure.
I know that if I ever feel a spirit like what I'm talking about with the black thing out of the corner of my eye, I energetically in myself set a boundary. Go, this is my house.
Yeah.
This is not your house.
That's right, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
That's
but
But
bye.
Yeah, bye. See you later. I live here now.
Not in a nasty way.
No.
Like, no, we're not going to do this.
No, that's right.
Like a toddler who dumps out sand in your floor. You just go, no, we're not going to do this right now.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah, you have to have boundaries at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for certainly for youngsters like your daughter's age. How old is your daughter?
She's 16 now.
She's 16. So it's
she's better now.
Would have been harder when she was younger.
It was a lot harder. I don't think she even felt safe telling me what she was seeing.
Yeah.
Because I think she thought this must sound crazy. And my mom's going to think I'm crazy. I know I wouldn't have, because I believe very much
Sure.
that in people being able to see and communicate with
Mm.
other realms or whatever, however you want to call it. But when the lady in Colorado, we went into a crystal shop, and the lady in Colorado literally put down what she was doing and walked across the store and said to me, "You realize your daughter's a medium, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's funny you say that." I wonder. She's like, "Oh yeah, she sees a lot." So
Sure.
how is she doing? Is she sleeping? And I was like, no, she just literally knew everything that was going on for Isla. Gave Isla a couple books,
Sure.
opened herself up to her to text her anytime she had questions.
Sure.
And this woman helped her a lot, just to be able to kind of
Control it. Yeah.
just to set boundaries.
Yeah. Shut it down a bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Just say, I don't want to hear this now. I need to sleep.
That's right.
Let me sleep.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you know.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
preaching to the choir.
No.
But yeah, she has like crystals under her bed, under the corners
Sure.
of her bed,
Yeah.
and she has certain crystals in the corners of her room.
Yeah.
and-
Generally, spirit will leave you alone if you ask them to.
yeah.
Generally, and she'll have guides. So if she's tuned in spiritually, she's a medium. She will have guides that walk with her,
Yeah.
and she just needs to connect with them.
Right.
Learn to connect with them and tune into them, and just ask them to keep spirit away from her.
Yeah. Don't we all have guides?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty much. Yeah. No one walks here alone.
I don't think so.
The biggest illusion is that we think we go somewhere when we die. We think there's somewhere else. The reality is we're in the spirit realms. We exist within it.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite bizarre, really, but it's a fact. We don't actually travel anywhere. I think we have the illusion when we die that we travel somewhere. We don't, because we're just in it. There's just energy around everywhere.
Well, I think that illusion had to be woven probably to give people hope.
Yeah, absolutely right. Of course,
Yeah.
of course, because people need to look for something in their lives, don't they? You know, 'cause
Yes.
it's not an easy life. It's not an easy world we live in one respect or another, and people generally suffer in many ways. So people need that hope. They need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ideal. And to most points of view, it's actually true. You know, we do go somewhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily as described.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe my grandparents, like you told me, and when you talked to me about what was going on around my spirit, is I believe my grandparents are here, which is what you told me. I feel them and I see them all the time.
Absolutely right.
They're everywhere in my house.
Yes.
I just went to Vietnam and with some friends, and my one of my closest friends' in-laws are in Da Nang, and I'm very close with her mother-in-law, and she took us to her home in Da Nang. I got out of the car, and Da Nang, if you don't know, you probably know, but it was the place that was the line between North and South Vietnam. There was a
Okay.
lot of war happening right there in her village. And I'd never been to her village before. And I got out of the car and I started crying. I cried the whole time I was there, and I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wrap my head around what it was. Part of it was I saw her sister, who was very old, who reminded me of my grandmother.
Okay.
And part of it, I literally, before I saw her sister, started crying. And it was just pouring out of my face. And I kept apologizing because I kept saying, I'm not really sure what's happening. And I'm embarrassed because I don't want to pull focus.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't upset per se. I was just really emotional.
Yeah,
It was
sure.
really heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, you were picking up on the vibration of the area. So you were picking up on all the pain and the suffering and the tragedies and the sadness that was there. So you were a very emotional individual and very sensitive yourself. And that's where your daughter gets it from. So you just pick up on the vibration.
It was crazy. I don't think I've had a feeling like that maybe ever.
Right.
Like just from stepping foot on a place.
Yeah.
No negative anticipation in the car.
No.
Nothing happening in the car.
Sure.
The minute my foot hit the ground,
You started crying.
I did.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it just fell out of me. And
Yeah.
probably half an hour for me to get it together.
Really?
Yeah, we were there for a long time. And I kept thinking, I need to excuse myself and go to the bathroom. I couldn't distract myself. You know, usually when you're emotional, you can start thinking about something else or start having a conversation. And I couldn't do it.
Sure.
It was really
Yeah.
crazy.
You were picking up on the vibration of the area
It
and the
was
sadness and the loss there.
such a hard place to be.
Yeah, I've never been, actually, to be honest with you.
To Vietnam?
No.
Vietnam's
been.
beautiful, but
Yeah.
that particular
Area.
place was
Yeah.
really
Sad.
really heavy. Yeah.
I've been in houses, I've been in buildings that have a similar feel over the years and picked that up, but not in a place. Friends of mine went to Auschwitz.
Oh goodness gracious!
And they said they had the same feeling there.
Yeah.
One of fear and tragedy and pain.
Yeah.
That they picked up. So yeah, it goes on. It's just the energy that's left. It's the vibration that's left.
Mm-hmm.
It's the and over a period of time, that does settle down,
right?
Slowly but surely. But over a period of time,
yeah. I would imagine it would have to, or the whole planet would feel that way.
Absolutely, exactly right. Yeah, over a period of time, it settles down and things get easier. Yeah, if you think of all the wars that we've had over, God knows, thousands of years.
On every continent.
On every continent, absolutely right, yeah.
Everywhere.
So, everywhere, yeah. So that sadness is, but it slowly dissipates over a period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever been anywhere where you're like, I got to get out of here?
Yes, I have, yeah. I remember being it's actually a friend of mine in his house. He lived in a very old house in the UK. And I was stood at the bottom of his stairs. He was getting changed. We were going out. And I felt something behind me. It was particularly unpleasant.
Really?
And it was at the beginning of my spiritual journey when I started to open up and started to slowly do this work. And I was really uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. It felt very sinister in many ways, So I got out of there quite sharpish. But when he went up into the loft, into the attic space of the house, he found a huge cross that had been nailed to one of the beams up there.
Wow.
There's something unpleasant had gone on.
Wow.
Within their house in that area, He's sold the house now. He's moved on. He lives in the south of France now, but yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him, absolutely, yeah. Somebody else owns that now, so somebody else is saying, but it was very uncomfortable. I've been in a few places like that over the years.
Where you're just like, I got to get out.
Some experiences,
So why is energy like that? Why would it feel sinister? Is that an unhappy spirit? What is that?
So it would have been a soul that was here that was potentially not a very nice individual when they were here. Could well have a lot of anger, a lot of jealousy, lots of deep negative emotions. Sometimes sits in the soul, and then they can't cross back to spirit. And because if they've been particularly bad, often spirit will turn their back on them for a while. And there's the earth plane spirits,
right?
They're still knocking around this world,
right?
It's quite common. Because they're trapped. They're not so much trapped, is this they can't get over their own emotions. So if they weren't a very nice person here, if they were particularly unpleasant, they often find it difficult to cross over because they carry a lot of guilt, a lot of fear in themselves, and And sometimes
is it that they're refusing to learn? Because aren't you learning every life, and then
you are, but some don't even realize they're dead.
Oh.
Some don't even realize they're dead, or some don't want to admit that they're dead. They don't want to admit. So I've come across it where there's been spooks in people's houses, and they don't want to leave because, as far as they're concerned, it's their home. So they're still living there, and they don't really want anyone else in there. So they can be a bit troublesome sometimes, and that's when they'll call a medium in to help them along,
shush them out.
Yeah.
Well, I was told I have that kind of spook in our house, the house that we live in. I had a medium come because my dogs were getting really spooked in one area of the house. And Isla, my daughter that's really sensitive, wouldn't go in that area of the house. It was the master bathroom of our house. And then little silly things kept going wrong.
Yeah.
And I thought, something's in the house and is messing with the process here.
Yeah.
So I called a medium. This was way before I knew you. This was 3 years ago, probably. Yeah. And she came in the house and told me that I did have someone there.
Yeah.
Told me his name. His name is Max. He's in his early 20s. He never lived in our house, but he spent a lot of time in our house, and it was a very joyful place. Okay. And that he meant no harm. Yeah. That he was so happy. He just wanted to stay in the house. And if that was okay with us, he would stay. And she said, I'm going to tell him it's okay if he doesn't go in the bedrooms or the bathrooms. So if he gives you guys some privacy, if it's okay with you, let him stay.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, he can stay.
Sure, yeah.
And I didn't have my dog there that day. This woman didn't know I had a dog. She said, he keeps asking why you didn't bring your dog. Where's your dog? He loves the dog.
Yeah.
I said, but the dog's scared of him. The dogs won't go.
Yeah,
The dogs were like, no.
Yeah, sure.
And so she said, I'm going to tell him to stop scaring the dogs and your daughter.
Yeah.
Stop scaring them.
Yeah.
And you can stay here. And then as soon as she left, when that was over, they've never had a problem again.
Sure. Yeah.
She also told me the area that my dogs and my daughter didn't want to go in was the area where the gentleman we bought the house from died in the house.
Okay.
And he had pancreatic cancer and he suffered a lot. He stayed at home a lot. And she said she didn't know that. She said whoever died here was in that bathroom a lot and suffering. So you need to take everything out of that bathroom. You need to rip it out down to the studs, get the energy out, which we were planning on doing anyway.
Sure.
But as soon as she left, that energy calmed down a lot.
Really?
Also, because the dogs are no longer scared to go over there. But then Max is still in the house. And I know Max is still in the house because he opens my coat closet door often, where I'm the only person in the house.
Sure.
You can pull the door and it doesn't open.
Sure.
And it's wide open, not cracked.
Wide open.
Someone has opened the closet door.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's telling me I'm still here.
That's right. Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely.
He was very obsessed with this rose bush we had. He kept saying to the woman, he's very concerned about this lavender rose bush. He doesn't want you to kill it. So don't kill the rose bush. And I was like, no problem. We'll just move it. We'll just relocate it. Is that okay? She said, that's okay. But he doesn't want you to kill this rose bush. So we moved it.
Okay.
Well, I was like, that's fine. This is all easy stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I
so
mean,
he can stay there.
If he's no problem at all, then why not? It's just if he's happy there and he wants to be there, he doesn't want to go back to spirit, doesn't want to cross over yet, he'll go back in his own time.
Right.
When he's ready to go.
Right.
But yeah, if he's around, he's no problem, then that's fine. I only ever get involved with that if there's a problem, I'll only ever do that. There's only two times I'll ever get involved is if somebody asks me that's having problems or the spirit asks me. So, I don't get involved. I don't poke my nose in.
Well, I asked her. I was like, what's going on in this house?
Yeah.
Something's going on in this house.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to have that answered. And then the gentleman that died in the house came and said, no, I'm gone. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not in this house. I don't want to be here. It was, the last of it was terrible. My life here was wonderful. I hope you guys are as happy as we were. And no, I'm not in this house.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's great.
Yeah.
So
it is good. Yeah.
It was pretty cool too, because much like you, she walked in my back door, sat down in one room, did not see any part of the house, knew my first name only, knew nothing about the house, and just poured all of this information that was factual. Like she knew everything about the people I bought the house from. That was all accurate.
Sure.
It's so undeniable.
That's right.
Any unbeliever should speak to someone like you.
Yeah.
Because it's undeniable.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah. I've done many readings with, the medium's job is evidence providing, it's evidence of survival. That's the medium's job. Survival evidence beyond the grave. That's what I do. It's what I've done for very many years. And I love doing what I do. And I'm very fortunate that I can do it and make it my living. Really.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky. There's many mediums I know, friends of mine that are mediums that have a job as well. They can't afford to. So I'm quite fortunate, really. So very good. I lived in a haunted house.
You did?
It's in the book. Yeah, it's in the book.
I know. I was going to bring up the book.
That's okay. I lived in one. We bought when I was married. We bought a small house to start with. You build don't you?
Yes.
We bought a bigger house, and this other house we bought. I don't know why. I saw the house and I parked at the bottom of the drive. Even before I went in there, I fell in love with this house. There was something about it I really liked. So we went in and I bought the house. We moved in. And it wasn't very long before I realised that I most definitely wasn't on my own in there.
What was happening?
There was there it was in a village called Ifield in Crawley in West Sussex, and Ifield is in the Domesday Book. It's one of the oldest parts, so it's very, very old, ancient ground. And there was an old manor on the property, and they'd obviously demolished it many, many years back, and they built these more modern houses, the one that we bought. And apparently there was streams running under the houses. There are energy streams running under the houses, ley lines. And they're landing lights to spirit. So some spirits will pass and they'll just see the energy. And there were people walking in and out of the house all the time. So I'd walk in the kitchen and the kettle would turn itself on.
Oh my gosh.
I'd walk into the sitting room, the TV channel would change. The TV would turn itself on. I remember, I didn't have a lot of money in those days, my company, and I built myself a computer. I bought a book and built a computer. To my amazement, it worked.
Wow.
So it worked. Yeah, I know, incredible.
It's impressive.
And I remember it was a Monday morning. My ex-wife had gone off to work. We didn't have kids at that point. And I went up to my study, which I turned the small bedroom into a study, turned the PC on, put the word processing package, and I went downstairs to make myself a coffee. I came back up and the entire screen was full of writing. Somebody had been in there typing and it was full of writing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I panicked. I was terrified. I ran outside. I sat outside all day until my ex-wife came home. I was scared to go back in the house on my own.
Oh my gosh.
I was terrified. Yeah, it was in the early days, in the early stages of my development. So
Right.
yeah, it was all really new to me, and yeah, fine now, but yeah, so we sold that on some years ago. But yeah, some amazing things happened in the house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, incredible. So there's, as in yours, it wasn't sinister either. It wasn't sinister. It wasn't sinister. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and in the bottom of our bed there was a mirrored wardrobes, loads of mirrored wardrobes. And I remember waking up and looking into the mirrored wardrobes, and there was a man stood in the doorway in my bedroom.
Wow.
Staring at me.
Oh my gosh.
And the doors were locked. The front door was locked. The back door was locked. There was no way that anybody had come in. It was just the two of us in the house.
Wow.
And he stared. And at that point, I'd got so used to it, I just turned back over and went to sleep.
Yeah.
In the morning, he'd gone. There was no one there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I used to see that kind of stuff when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
There was always someone in my doorway.
Yeah.
I was so scared to sleep when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I had terrible sleep anxiety.
So did I, yeah.
It was awful because there was always someone in my doorway. I don't know. I don't remember people being in my room, inside my room.
Yeah.
But at one point, we lived in an old farmhouse, and I stopped sleeping in my own bed because I was so scared. I went to my parents' room every night because it was too scary. And then in that house, I used to see a giant chicken at night, which is really crazy. Yeah. But a giant chicken. And I thought the chicken was my friend. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But but then my parents moved me into we moved into a mobile home.
Okay.
And it was a 3-bedroom mobile home, but 2 bedrooms were tiny. So my dad took the wall out between. So I had 2 doors to my bedroom.
Okay.
So I would see people walking down the hall and then past the other door. So they go past one door and then past the other door.
Yeah.
And then back and forth, they stop and look in the doorway. I remember seeing that many, many times.
Yeah.
And I hated that mobile home. I just hated to sleep there.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep there.
Scared you, yeah.
What helped me sleep was getting a cat.
Okay, yeah.
So the cat really
made a difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing people after I got the cat.
Yeah.
So is that something? Is that a thing?
Yeah, animals are really good, actually. Animals, because they're more tuned in to the spirit realms. It's quite normal for them. Uh-huh. Animals don't question it. They don't understand because the human being and animals are completely different. We human beings have the ability to reason. Mm-hmm. Animals don't. They act on instinct. Right. So for them, the spirit realms and this realms, there's no confusion there for them.
Right.
And often when there's an animal about, a cat or a dog, sometimes it will help younger people when you were a kid, a different focus for you. Mm-hmm. And the spirits often don't come that close then, often,
There's an animal. Well, I know my mom said to me, if you're scared, because I was so scared, and we didn't talk about, I never told her I saw
Yeah.
people. Much like Isla, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But she's got me a cat, and she said the thing about a cat is if something's really wrong, they'll get scared.
Yeah.
So if the cat's okay, then you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes sense if you're saying the cat probably saw everything I was seeing.
Yeah.
But the cat never reacted.
Doesn't bother them.
So I just stopped seeing them too, perhaps, or they just stopped coming close. But I remember very vividly seeing people walking up and down that hallway in that mobile home.
Yeah.
And in the doorway of that mobile home, and the big giant chicken in my house. Yeah. And that might have been my imagination. But the people, I don't think all those people were an imagination.
No.
I don't see people now, I'm definitely not a medium. Like, I'm not implying that I am a medium, but I definitely saw those black spots at the side of my eyes.
Absolutely.
And my husband never saw them, but Isla did.
Yeah.
And
it's very real, very much real.
Oh, it was real.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
I kept seeing it out the kitchen window, right out as if someone were just on the other side of the glass.
Yeah.
Over and over and over probably 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, sure.
I probably saw it 8 or 10 times over 2 weeks' time. So I was like, oh, no, something's really there.
Yeah.
And that medium that came told me my property was on one of those streams you're talking about.
Ley line, yeah.
She said it may not be, some of it is under the house and some of it is not.
Yeah.
So she said she was going to help slow it down or redirect it or something.
Yeah,
so
just move the energy about.
Yeah.
My neighbor in that house we lived in, my neighbor next door, he was building an extension to the side, and the builders were digging down. They couldn't hit any solid foundation because there was so much water under there, streams under there. Then eventually they did, and he came and knocked for me. He said, come and look at this. I went round there. They dug down so deep, but they hit a tiled floor, a hand-tiled floor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. And he said, what would you do? I said, I'd fill it full of concrete. I said, because if you tell the authorities, we'd all have to move out.
Right.
Because that could be Roman, that could be, that's going back.
What was it?
Mystery. Yeah. But they were pulling out old windows. The old glass that was handmade glass that wasn't clear like the glass we have today. It was very mottled.
Yes.
They were pulling out glass like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
what could it have been?
Yeah. Some old manor of some description.
Wow. There's nothing like this on this continent.
No,
Animal bones for sure.
Yeah. No,
that's about it.
Yeah.
How crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So but the authorities would have shut the place down, really.
Totally.
Yeah, because they wanted to investigate. So.
Completely. This episode of Wife of the Party is sponsored by BetterHelp. I know I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more. Therapy makes life better. I've been in therapy for a long time, and therapy changes for me as my life changes. Sometimes I feel like I'm super bored, and she must be really bored by what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden, something will happen in life, and I'll go, thank God I have this mentor / therapist that I talk to every week. If you're interested in therapy and you don't know where to start, BetterHelp is a great place to start. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You just have to fill out a brief questionnaire and you'll get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional cost. The first time out of the gate, finding the right person for you is very rare. So that you have the option to switch therapists is really amazing. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/wife today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wife. Today's episode of Wife of the Party is brought to you by HelloFresh. You know how big a fan I am of HelloFresh. I love not having to think about what's for dinner. I love not going to the grocery store. I love that my kids can just pull the ingredients out of the refrigerator and the instruction card or recipe card and make dinner for me. That's amazing. And I love the variety that HelloFresh offers. It's introduced my kids to lots of different kinds of food I don't think we would have eaten if it hadn't come from HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal recipes to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door. Pre-portioned ingredients help cut down on food waste, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze and not a chore. Make your home the hangout place this summer with crowd-pleasing eats, from backyard bratwurst bar to a tangy key lime pie. HelloFresh Market makes summer entertaining a cinch. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com/wife50 and use the code wife50 for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/wife50 and use code wife50 for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. So tell me about your book, Reflections of the English Medium.
Yeah.
I'm going to do like this for the camera.
Oh, there you go. That's me in my suit. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a published author.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
That is, it's more amazing really in many ways than you might realise, because I'm not proud of this, but when I left school, I couldn't read and write. So I was illiterate when I left school.
Hold on. You were illiterate when you were at school?
Yeah, when I left school, yeah. Couldn't read and write or do arithmetic, yeah.
Are you dyslexic?
Mm.
You have, yeah.
Mm. And back then when we were young.
Yes.
A bit older than you, but when I was young.
You can say we.
Okay,
we're pretty
great.
close.
Okay, great, thank you. It was never picked up, so it never got looked into really. So I was kind of left to my own devices at school, which wasn't great. So I didn't have a great education, but I learned to read and write when I left because I suddenly realised I needed to, and I taught myself.
Right.
Within weeks.
Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible.
It is amazing, and it's very disappointing that traditional education couldn't just pivot for you for a minute to get you up and running. That's right. Still actually quite true, which is unfortunate.
Yes, I believe so. I mean, I don't know much of the education system in the US, or certainly now in the UK. I know it's changed, but I don't think they perhaps don't work as hard as they could.
UK is a little bit better, or actually I think a lot better at pivoting a bit. But US, they're great at identifying problems. Okay. But not great at
resolving them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been my experience. Anyway.
Okay.
Because Isla's dyslexic too.
Yeah.
Interesting that she's dyslexic and also sees.
There you go. It often goes hand in hand, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny that.
Yeah.
So for that to now be out is amazing, really. I mean, that's been on the go for the last 10 years, pretty much.
For 10 years.
About that, yeah.
Well, you should be so proud.
Thank you.
First of all, beautiful cover.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah. Well,
what is it? Is it a memoir?
It's basically about my life, my experiences, the ups and downs, and some of the successes and some of the failures, if you like.
Yeah.
And the different experiences I've had. Quite a bit about my spirit. Well, mainly all about my spiritual work, really, and how I came into spirituality and how I came to be a medium, and my experiences of living in the haunted house and particular readings that I've given with some famous spirits that have come through before in demonstrations, and all manner of things in there about me, my life, and the work that I do. And there's questions and answers in the book as well. People have asked questions, and there's that in there as well. So pretty much about me. Someone said to me a while ago, who's a clairvoyant friend to me, she said, "Well, that's not the first book. There's going to be more. There's going to be more books." And I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah, there's more coming." So
that's great.
So it's exciting. So it's I am very proud to think that.
Should be.
I mean, both my parents are spirit side, like you will say, and they would be amazed at the very fact that there's my book in your hand right now. It's like, wow, what's Nigel done? Because, quite incredible. So, but it's been written and rewritten as I've moved forward in time, because I got divorced about 10 years ago. So it's been going on since then, really.
Right.
So yeah, a friend of mine said to me, it was a clairvoyant. She said, "You've got to get it done now. It's got to be done now. Now is the time. It needs to be released now."
Right.
So I worked hard, and I met a lady that helped me finish putting it all together.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So she was really good. So she helped. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, very exciting.
That is very exciting. Where can a person buy it?
It's on Amazon.
Oh, good.
So, and it's on Kindle as well. So they can go onto Amazon and find it on there.
That's great.
And the Kindle version. Somebody asked me the other day to do an Audible one as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
Because you are lovely to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
So you should. Because I listen to a lot of books now. I really enjoy reading, like physically reading a book.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I would prefer to listen to a book when I'm driving than the radio.
Yeah.
So to me, doesn't replace my function of physically reading.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually listen to one book in the car and physically read another book. That way I don't get them confused or mixed up.
Sure, yeah.
So right now I'm listening to Mel Brooks' memoir in the car because he has such a great voice and he's so entertaining.
Yeah.
And to hear him read his own words is great.
Sure.
And then I'm reading The Good Earth, which is a Pulitzer Prize winning book that I'm reading for my book club here. And and so that way I feel like listening to something like your book would be amazing to hear you tell your story in your voice.
Okay.
As opposed to a novel. To me, I'd rather read a novel.
Yeah.
Because then I get to see the characters in my own brain.
Yeah.
You know, and make all the scenery that they're writing about up in my own brain. But
Sure.
if it's a memoir or a true story, I'd rather hear the person who lived it read it.
Okay. Well, I can do that.
Yeah, I think you should. It really entertain that. That would be really awesome to hear your voice say these words.
Okay. A couple of people have asked me, so maybe I will. I don't even know where I'd start, to be honest with you. But
gosh, I don't either.
I'm sure I can work that out. And
I guess I don't know either.
I'll research it. And there you go.
Yeah. I mean, you can Google it, right?
Yeah. Well, we can Google everything these days.
Google everything.
Whatever we need to know.
Isn't that the truth? I know someone, who was I talking to? My mother-in-law. And she said, well, Dr. Google says. And I went, I'm not so sure you should listen to Dr.
Google. Yeah.
Maybe go to your real doctor.
Yeah.
But we all Dr. Google everything. But I bet you could Google it and find out.
Or YouTube. Everything's on YouTube as well, isn't it?
So true.
On YouTube. Yeah.
Probably some simple recording. I don't know.
I think Amazon do sell them as well.
Oh,
Amazon,
they do?
They do, yeah.
Oh, absolutely they do. That's where I buy everything.
Yeah.
Is Amazon. Amazon partners with Audible.
Okay, yeah.
And they also partner, obviously, they own Kindle.
Yes.
And Kindle allows you to listen to audiobooks as well. So if you do it all through Amazon, it should be like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You know, and they sometimes package. If you buy the written book, you get the Audible for less or vice versa.
It came to me the other day, a lady messaged me that as one of my clients back in the UK that's got very poor sight. She said, I can't read. She said, but I'd love to listen to your book.
Yeah.
I'd love to listen to it. So I thought, well, that started the process, and you saying now. So I think I'll look into that now.
I would if I were you.
Yeah.
So much of media these days is audible.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole world of podcasting, there's a completely different market for people who watch this podcast on YouTube is a bit different than the people who listen to this podcast on a podcast app because they, like me, they're listening to it in the car.
Yeah.
You know, lots of people with commutes or with, you know, people who drive for a living, Postmates drivers, truck drivers.
People on vacation.
Exactly.
In their headphones.
Yes. Going on a flight. You can download that, listen to it on a flight.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think the world of listening has changed over the past probably 10 years because of podcasting and the accessibility of audiobooks.
Sure.
I'd much rather listen to a book in the car than the radio.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that then.
Yeah.
That's set my thought processes going. So yeah.
There you go.
Thank you for that, Leanne. So
of course.
I'm going to be doing that
I
one.
can't wait to read it. What was the hardest part about writing this book? What was the hardest thing?
All of it.
Really. All of it.
Yeah.
It was hard.
It goes back some years. A good friend of mine in the UK, Lynn Florkiewicz, she's quite a well-known writer now, and she said, she used to come and watch me work many times. She loved the mediumship I did, and she'd watch me work on stage. And she said, you need to write a book. She said, I'll do it with you. So I won't charge you, and we'll do it together. So every weekend we'd spend, half a day and during the week, and we'd slowly put it together. And then, of course, I got at the end of the divorce, and then my life changed, and so it's been updated. So it was constantly updated over the last 10 years to the point where it is now. So in terms of hard, I don't suppose it was hard, really. I've done a lot harder things in my life, but I'm no J.K. Rowling's either. So
right. It didn't just pour out of you effortlessly.
No, I had to go back and think and remember and not got the greatest memory in the world. Most mediums haven't, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah, most mediums don't have great memories.
Why do you think that is?
Because we get overloaded with so much information. I couldn't retain all the information.
Right.
So I've done probably literally thousands of readings and messages on stage, and so many, hundreds of thousands of them. I can't retain all those.
Right.
I remember a few. There's a few that were impactful to me that made me go, wow, wow, it was amazing. But just a few, but generally most of them. Otherwise, I'd never sleep at night because my head would be full of other people's.
Well, it sounds to me like in some ways your body is a conduit,
Yeah.
It's just information in and then out.
That's right.
So you don't stop and hold on to it.
Exactly.
Because
once it's gone.
Possibly.
No. And once it's gone, it's gone. I don't want to remember all the messages I've given.
My grandmother, who's 5 feet tall and round.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I know that. I know. But boy, when you said there's someone here that's short and round, and I know who that is. There's only one person.
Sure.
But anyway, I had another question about the book, and now I've forgotten it.
Oh, don't worry.
What's your favorite part of this book? Is there a favorite chapter? Is there a favorite moment?
I think there's parts of every chapter in the book that I quite like. In terms of, I gave it a lot of thought. There was a lot of thought put into it in terms of the structure of my life from when I was born and my realizations and the way I was brought up, my experiences as we moved around the UK because we lived in South Wales for a while, and the diversity of my life as I was growing up and the different experiences I've had. So in terms of what I like about different chapters, there's a bit in every chapter that is me, because it's a very honest and genuine look at who I was and who I've been, rather. I was abused as a child, and there's that's in the book, and I'm not hiding away from that. That's publicly out there now. And I've had lots of different experiences. My child at 8 years old, my eldest daughter, she had cancer. That's in the book. It's the whole story of.
Did she survive?
Yes, she's 30 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible.
You just have one?
I've got 2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
They're the best.
They are.
Well, that's great that she survived it.
Yes.
That had to be very hard.
It was terribly traumatic.
I cannot.
And I think, and it's in the book, and I think that my spirituality, my beliefs, kind of carried me through the whole thing. I suffered terribly through the whole thing.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. She was 8 years old, bless her, and God bless her. So my spirituality was a good base for me, a good bedrock for me to rely on and to sit with as I went through it. And the chap that taught me many years ago, Peter Richards, he's mentioned in the book as well. He got me started with all this because he saw it in me back in the day, many years back now. And he was there for me when my daughter was going through difficulties, and he did say to me, he said, "Don't worry, she'll be okay. She'll come through this all right." And he was an amazing medium, so he supported me greatly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you first got married, you were not in touch with your abilities.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you became in touch with them through your marriage?
It's yes, basically. It started when I first met Peter, actually. I went to a psychic fair. I'm sure you have them over here in the States as well. So it was a big psychic event. And I remember walking around, and Peter was sat at the back of the room doing readings. And I looked at him and I thought, there's something strange about that individual. I
Huh.
don't know what it is. There's something different about him. And I knew my mother had many spiritual experiences as well, because she was a medium. She never worked with it. It scared my father too much.
Mm.
But she told me different bits and pieces, and I'd known I'd seen spirit, grown up seeing spirit, but I didn't understand it all. So I had a reading with Peter and sat down, and he told me things that no one would ever know.
Right.
No one knew. And then I watched him stand up and do a demonstration of mediumship, and I was, well, how does he do this? How is this working? You know, I wanted to look behind the curtain and what's going on? How is
Right.
this? And I became hooked. I was obsessed by the whole thing. And so he'd said to me in my reading, he said, you have this ability. He said, and one day you'll be known for what you do. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, you will. I said, well, how do I develop it? And he said, you need to sit in a circle. You need to develop with like-minded people and sit in a circle. And he said, but I don't know one. I don't, because he used to run them. But I pestered him.
You did.
Pestered him. I wouldn't leave him alone. And eventually he said, for crying out loud, he used to call me Niggle. He affectionately called me Niggle when I got to know him. He said, Niggle, he said, I'll run a circle and you can sit in my circle. So he set the circle up really for me. He was such a lovely man. And I sat in his circle and I slowly developed in his circle. Yeah. He's passed on now. He died. Died about 7 or 8 years ago.
Was he older?
He was a bit older than me, yeah.
Yeah.
But he'd been a medium for 40, 45 years.
Wow.
Yeah. He's very knowledgeable.
And how did your wife or ex-wife deal with this development of your...
She was actually very supportive.
She was?
Yeah, she was.
That's wonderful.
It was, yeah. She was absolutely fine with it all. Very supportive, you know. She was a good wife. She was wonderful, really. Yeah, no, she was a fantastic mother and a good wife, yeah, without a doubt. And she was very supportive of me and my work, which made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it came as a bit of a shock when it all started to happen, you know. It was, and I developed very quickly as well. So I opened up very quickly and developed very quickly. So it wasn't very small and piecemeal how I teach people. It's very slow. For me, it happened very quickly. I had some experiences that I won't talk about on camera, but they were quite startling in some respects. And that shocked me, and that created a lot of fear within me. Then that made the whole thing a bit more difficult. But yeah, with Peter's help and his guidance, I slowly managed to take control of it. It's almost like the ability to ride a bike and then jump in on a Harley Davidson with a 1500cc engine, you know, it's massive, and not being able to ride it properly or control it.
Right.
And that's what it felt like to me.
No baby steps.
No, exactly.
No
From
baby
0
steps.
to 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
And then, of course, back from 100 back to 0 to start again.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Peter always said to me, always take the goods train, never take the express. If you take the express, you'll get to, and then you have to go all the way back to the beginning again, start again.
Yeah.
Which made perfect sense. What it does now, yeah. So
that's how you build anything that lasts, right? You take your time, you do it right.
Foundation.
Yes.
You need to put a foundation in with whatever you do, whether it's a business or, you know, a home or a career or, you know, what I've done. So
yes.
So I've paid my dues. I've built my foundation.
That's good.
Yeah.
It must make you feel good to help people.
Yes, that was the primary reason I got involved in it. The only reason I did it was to help people, and because there's no greater reward for the human being than to help their own species.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
it's the truth.
It is, without a doubt.
It is the truth.
And I enjoy that the most, to see people develop as well when I'm teaching, because I teach quite a bit. In saying that, we've got a TV show now that we're looking in slow development.
That's great.
Slowly coming on, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. It's at the very tentative beginning stages. But
so I won't ask any questions because I know how that goes. You got to be super quiet till it's all done. But that's amazing.
Well, the pitch deck's being finished off now. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
And then you get to pitch it around, and then it gets made, and then you're excited.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So when people come to see you, what do you think is the number one motivating factor from someone seeking out a medium? Why do you think they do that for the most part?
I think it's mainly I've seen a lot of people over the years that have lost children, and that's very dear to my heart because of my experiences
Sure.
with my daughter. And they're looking for some kind of resolution with that in terms of they're often in deep grief because losing a child is we're not supposed to outlive our children.
No.
And that comes as a harsh thing. So what's very rewarding is to be able to give the evidence that the child's okay.
Right.
Because that helps the parents a great deal. But most people come to a medium looking for evidence of survival to know that their mum's okay and their dad's fine, and their grandparents are still very much, and they're happy for them as well. And they come to know you. Well, I've done this wrong, or I've done that wrong, and are my parents unhappy with me? And the answer is always, well, no, they're not unhappy with you at all.
No,
it's not like that there.
Is it? Do you ever have someone from spirit come and say, "You're an asshole"? You know what I mean?
Yeah, great word. It has happened. Yeah,
It has.
Yeah, it happens that some people that
But do you tell them?
No, not always.
You don't?
No, because it's not
Necessary?
Why share bad news? Why I don't. I like to keep things.
I know, but I wonder if that's something. Sometimes bad news makes you self-reflect and learn.
It does.
I wonder if someone, I'm mad at you because you took that last cupcake and then I died. That's ridiculous, but you know what I mean.
Sure, yeah. I really try. People come to see a medium because they're looking for upliftment in their life.
Of course, yes.
They're looking for some, some validation that they're doing okay. And, and if a medium can give clarity to that, if a medium can bring some evidence of survival through from people that they've lost,
right?
Then that is that's priceless.
Totally priceless. I know. I wanted to see you because I was curious.
Yeah,
I'm just super curious as a person.
Yeah,
I'm right with all my people who've passed on. I don't think anybody. I don't have any. I even worry about them.
Yeah,
but I was curious who would show up.
Yeah.
Who's going to show up,
Yeah.
And what do they have to say?
Yeah, sure.
That was my, obviously the woman with the ghost in my house, I called her because there was a ghost in my house. There was a spirit in my house.
Yeah.
Ghost may not be the right term, but something was in my house.
Sure.
And then I called another woman once. I don't know if she was a medium, but she talked about past lives a lot.
Yeah.
She didn't talk to current spirit or what was, I don't think anybody showed up and talked to her.
Right.
But she had a pendulum that she swung.
Yeah.
And then she would talk to me from the pendulum about past life stuff.
Sure.
And some of it was really fascinating.
Sure. Yeah.
She talked to me about my mom and I have never had a good relationship in this life together.
Yeah.
And we don't, in fact, have a relationship now, and that is okay with me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But I called her because I wanted to see if I was really good with that, or if I was like hiding something from myself, or if I was in denial of some part.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason I called her. The biggest part was because I was curious.
Sure.
She had gone to see a friend of mine who, the friend of mine, I felt like she had negative energy stuck on her and she couldn't get it off.
Okay.
So she felt like she needed to get like energetically cleaned off, and she kept trying to clean off herself.
Yeah.
And she couldn't really do it. Stuff just kept sticking.
Okay.
That's how she felt.
Yeah.
So she called this woman, and the woman was like, "Oh, you have all this like nasty energy that's not yours. It's from somewhere else. Some spirit is attached to you, or some past life thing came up." And so she cleaned her off, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to see if I have some gunk on me I'm not aware of, right? Clean me off too."
Yeah.
And then a little part of it was like, well, I wonder if I really am done with my mom. Again, this woman knew my first name. She had nothing about me.
Sure.
Started swinging the pendulum, and she went, "Ooh, you came to this life to finish with your mother, and you're finished. You don't need to worry about it anymore. You're good with her.
Yeah.
And I was like, first thing she said to me, and I was like, wow, I feel amazing. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, sure.
Like I've done all I can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I can do in this life with that relationship.
No.
I don't know what else I could do.
No.
So I can continue to pine over what else could I do?
Sure.
Or I could really just let it go.
Just let it go. That's right. Yeah.
Give it to God and say, I really feel good about saying I've done all I can do.
I've done all I can do.
And
Absolutely.
am I right in saying that? And she said, yes, you're right. This is many lives you've had with her.
Absolutely.
And this one you came here knowing you were going to finish it.
Yeah.
You chose it this time to go, and this time we're done.
Sure.
And you're done.
Yeah.
So you're done.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, thank you.
Exactly.
And then she told me lots of other stuff that I don't remember. But at the time I remember going, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I didn't write it down. And she didn't allow me to record it.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
no, I think it messed up her pendulum.
Okay.
So,
energy, I suppose.
Yeah.
I love past lives. There's something that fascinates me.
Really fascinating, right?
There's a bit in the book about it. Yeah.
I do remember one thing she told me. She told me my husband and I were mother and son in a past life.
Quite probably.
And we found each other because we loved each other so much in that life.
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't know me or him. She said, that's why your relationship now is unbalanced. You take a lot of care of him and he doesn't take as good a care of you. Not because he doesn't want to, but because it's that mother-son thing.
Sure.
Except now you're a couple and it's still the mother-son thing a little bit.
Yeah.
He's very much a child and you're very much the mom. And I was like, yeah. She said, you may want to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
You're happy, but you could be 10% happier if he were just a little more aware.
Yeah.
I did have that conversation with him. It was ineffective. But I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy. So, 10% happier would be great, but it's not necessary. I'm totally fine.
Well, it's a soul family, isn't it? So, we just go through lives connecting.
Yeah.
Still connecting. Because you meet people, you think, oh my God, I know that person. Or
Completely.
from nowhere.
Yes.
And you feel just so comfortable in their presence.
Yes.
For no real reason, to be honest. You never met them before, but it's just something there. And that's because you're just the soul just recognizes each other.
I think so.
Yeah. And the connection's still there.
Yes. I was just talking to my daughters about this last night. We were talking about someone's soulmate. And I believe you have many soulmates.
Yeah.
And a soulmate is different in and of itself from one to the other. You know, meeting someone the first time and recognizing their soul is very different than someone that you have a relationship with, that you're connected with. Mm-hmm. Those are different types of soulmates.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of the same thing.
They are pretty much, yeah.
I have a friend that I have been friends with since I was 20. I talk to him maybe every 2 years. Maybe. He's in Florida. I'm here. We have totally different schedules, lives. He's a grandfather. I'm raising kids. But the minute we talk, I feel like I'm sitting right next to him.
Sure.
We're just on the phone.
Yeah.
But he's right next to me.
It's like chatting to your best friend, like your brother.
He's like a brother.
Yeah,
he's like my brother, my big brother. He's 10 years older than me.
Sure.
And I learned so much about life from him.
Yeah.
That's invaluable. But every time I pick up the phone and talk to him, it's like I saw him yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, I feel connected to him all day, every day.
Sure. It's a fact, you know. People in our lives that we connect with, they're old souls that we've connected with before. Mm-hmm. So we've been backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
So when you say you're fascinated with past lives, I'm assuming you don't see that part of a soul when you're talking to them.
No, but I do past life readings.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
I've had some fascinating ones.
Have you?
Over the years. Yeah.
Genghis Khan show up or something? I'm just kidding.
No, never Genghis Khan. No. I've done quite a few of those and they really interest me.
Yeah.
The reincarnation thing fascinates me.
Yeah.
You know, it's that I'm fascinated with time travel, you know, backwards and forwards, because there's no time in spirit. It doesn't only exist here. It exists in a physical realm. It doesn't exist in the metaphysical one. And the time thing fascinates me because there's no time in spirit. That's where the clairvoyance comes from, because spirit can see our tomorrow today, and they see our yesterday, and they see our now, because it's just one static energy there. Because nobody's clairvoyant. People rejoice and claim they're a clairvoyant. They're not. They just have the ability for the spirit to show them what tomorrow's going to be, or that's how they see.
Because the spirit's maybe already seen it, already been there.
It's the spirit that's clairvoyant. It's not the human being.
Yes, not the human.
Yeah.
They're just a conduit.
They're just
again.
a conduit. They're
Yes.
just absolutely right. Yeah, just the messenger. But past lives do, very much interest me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always have. Who I was before, and I've seen some amazing things regarding past lives.
Have you really?
I have, yeah, fascinating.
Huh.
And there's, I did some light hypnosis with a friend of mine who's something called a matrix reimprinter. I'm qualified in it as well, where we go into the depths of the soul, and you slip into a slightly hypnotic state. And I found myself stood in this huge room, looking out over a very well manicured lawn, and as far as the eye could see, I knew I owned everything as far as the eye could see.
Wow.
And I found myself stood in this manor house, British manor house, and I was lord of the manor. Yeah, lord of the manor. I owned everything. I wasn't a particularly nice individual in that life, I have to say.
Oh no.
No, I wasn't. I was a bit of a bastard, actually. But there you go. But I was, and the karma has come back in this life and others where I've had to repay stuff. So,
right.
But it was incredible. I could see the pictures in the gallery, and I could and the hand painted, and I was looking for the dates and the signature because I actually was in there. I could see them.
Wow.
We'd finished the session. And my friend said to me, do you know how long this has been going on for? I said, about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. She said, it's 2 hours. Wow. We've been doing this 2 hours.
Wow.
Complete time distortion. I got completely lost in the whole thing. And we said our goodbyes. I gave her a hug at the front door. And as she walked out, Alexa piped up and said, the date you're looking for is 16 something or other. I can't remember exactly what.
No.
From nowhere. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I
That's
went
crazy.
I went down to my friend's house. It just lived on the estate. I said, you won't believe what just happened, because she's really spiritual as well. I said, you won't believe what just happened. The things I saw, incredible. Yeah. So
that's
was
crazy.
Yeah.
It was 1600 something?
Yeah. It was, hundreds of years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was not a nice man. I can tell you I wasn't a nice man. But, we come in contrast to who we were once before. So I'm a nice fella now and gentle and kind and sensitive. But in that life, I wasn't. I was completely opposite to that. I was a completely different individual.
Lessons learned.
Yeah,
through
that's
time,
right. It's just the soul evolves through life after life after
totally.
life. So, yeah.
You know what I think about? This is something I think about. Bert, definitely. I ask you this, okay. If I was royalty, so to speak, or upper class or refined in a past life, and I'm born in this life, not that. This is a complicated question. There are people I see who are maybe from my hometown, which is a modest middle class, maybe some lower class, little teeny bit of upper class people. But farmers, country people, I don't want to say not sophisticated, because I feel like that sounds like a negative, but not fancy people. No one there's fancy, just kind of salt of the earth people. But some people move through life like they're aristocratic.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
And a sister in one family and two sisters from the same family, one might move differently than the rest of the family.
That's right.
And I wonder if that's something from their past life they've brought here.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's right.
Is it?
It's an impact from a past life. So as a small child, my first memories were I loved the big houses in the country.
Oh.
I'd see the gates as we drove down the road, because there's quite a few in the UK. And as you drive, I'd see the big gates to the estate, and all I ever wanted to do was go down there and go to the house.
Right.
It would fill me with excitement as a small boy. My parents couldn't quite work it out. And one of my major hobbies is researching and going around these big houses when I'm back in the UK. I absolutely love it. Love it.
Right.
And as a small boy, we have a game in the UK called snooker. It's like pool. It's like American pool, but on a bigger table. It's 6 foot by 12 foot snooker table.
Oh, wow.
It's a huge table.
It's really big.
And green bays. And I remember as a small boy, my dad taking me to a private club, and they had some snooker tables in there. And I saw them, and my heart leapt out of my chest. First time I'd ever seen a snooker table, and I couldn't wait to go over and touch it and want to play on it. And the reason is when I lived in the mansion, I had my own billiard room, I had my own snooker room, and it was one of my hobbies there. Yeah, it's really very impactful. Another life often have on this one. So you're right. Two sisters. One could be very, very what we clarify maybe as normal, and the other one was more interested in music or the arts or whatever. But not brought up that way.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, and it's just where it sits in the soul.
Yeah,
and the same thing works out as well. If you had a tragic passing in another life, and it was very, very, very tragic, sometimes that will leave a scar on the soul as well. So when you come back again, you're terrified to go over water. If for instance, if you died on a ship,
drown or something.
Yeah. Your fear of water would just be with you as you're born.
Right.
Because it still sits in the soul. It's just a memory.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I've often wondered that as I see people like, I come from very salt of the earth background. And I had someone here who was also from a similar background who knew about all this high fashion.
Yeah.
And I have no interest whatsoever in that world. And in that moment was the first time I thought, I wonder if this is like past life. If she in another life was very wealthy.
Yes.
And I just have never been really wealthy in a past life and don't have that context.
No.
So I don't have that interest.
No,
and the
right.
interest is nowhere in me.
No, that's right.
But in her, there's no reason for her to have that interest, similar exposure to life as me.
Yeah.
So I just was always I wasn't always, recently became curious about that. And I actually apply that to Bert a little bit too. Bert grew up a little more white collar than me, but he definitely has the I am king mentality and everyone wait on me mentality.
Yep.
And I don't think his mom waited on him hand and foot, but he believes that somehow he should be like,
he deserves it,
carried by 4 people on a chair to get to the end of the end of the driveway. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
Yeah, he feels he's deserving.
Oh yeah,
of the whole thing. Yeah, it's the same as me with the snooker room and the mansion. I feel comfortable in those.
Yes.
I'm comfortable there.
Yeah, he is too.
Totally comfortable, completely and utterly comfortable.
I am completely uncomfortable there.
Yeah,
and it's got to be more than just here, because some of the uncomfortable, consciously I go, why is it so uncomfortable? You should not be so awkward here. But I am anyway. So it's got to be something from the past.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure. It's for me, it just feels natural. It resonates to me completely natural. I always want to be dressing reasonably smart. It's not. It's just how I am. I just love that. I love classical music, and from nowhere as a small child. So it's just carries through.
Yeah.
Then some of the nice stuff and some of the bad stuff as well. Some of the not so good lives.
Well, we all have both.
Well, we've got both. Yeah, we've got to have a bit of a balance there. So,
yes, we do.
But there's all stuff about that in the book as well. And about my different lives and that. But I've seen a few over the years.
Yeah.
And as a medium and the deep work that I've done as a medium, and when I was learning, I was exposed to a few. Yeah, I've seen a few. I saw myself as a farmer's wife many, many years ago, laying in a cottage in a bed, and I was passing away, and there were 3 boys round my bed.
Oh.
And they were all crying, and they were my sons. And they were big, strapping young men.
Yeah.
And I was a farmer's wife, and I saw myself passing away there.
So you were loved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very loved.
Yeah. So I've had some interesting ones.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So how do your dreams affect you, or do they affect you? Does any of this stuff come in your dreams?
I don't really dream anymore now.
No?
I very rarely dream.
Yeah, I
very,
rarely dream too.
Very rarely dream, yeah. Used to dream a lot when I was younger, and it was always terrifying stuff.
Was it always terrifying?
Mainly, yeah, when I was younger.
Why do you think that is?
Because I was young and I was open and susceptible to spirit. And sometimes there wasn't particularly nice spirits around, and I'd get some really horrendous dreams. I remember my mother coming in pretty much night after night, settling me down. So yeah, because I think she knew more than she let on, my mother.
Right.
But she never spoke about it because of my father, really. So
Right.
yeah.
Moms usually do know more than they let on.
That's exactly. That's right. Yeah.
That's how you
Precisely.
got to work it.
Yeah.
Can't let them know everything.
Everything. That's right. Yeah.
So when you is it appropriate to say when you gave me a reading? How would you like to say when you did a session with me? You didn't have a pendulum or a deck of cards or anything like that. I think modalities like that are very effective for some people, like the lady with the pendulum who was telling me all this stuff. I had a psychic who read me with a deck of poker cards and was crazy accurate.
Yeah.
Saw my future 10 years from everything she said to me. I went, you're crazy. None of this is on my path. There's whatever. And then 10 years later, one day I went, oh my God, that woman with the poker cards told me everything that's here now.
Yeah, that's
everything.
Right. Yeah.
And literally it was like she picked them up, in Vegas. It was not, no tarot.
No, sure.
I find that really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, divination tools. So people will use tarot cards, they use psychometry and all different types of tools to be able to see. Mm-hmm. It just helps some people to link in and see. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I used to use tarot cards myself years ago. I don't use them anymore. That's not my thing. But
do you think that's a way of holding a boundary for some people? When I pick the cards up, I'm open to listen? Or do you think it's a tool? Or
you shuffle the cards, you put your vibration on the cards, and what comes out is meant to come out. And if it's a very skilled tarot card reader, they can read some very deep things into those tarot cards that amazingly will come true and often do. But as I said to you before, it's not the human that's clairvoyant. It's spirit that's clairvoyant, and the human is just the radio, and it's about tuning the radio into the right frequency.
Right.
Because some people are clairaudient, so they hear spirit. So they hear spirit just outside their hearing range. And the clairvoyance, the clear sight seeing, they'll see spirit just outside of their visual range. So they see them as an image within the room, as opposed to sometimes being completely physical. I have seen them completely physical, but often just as an image, yeah. And the same with clairsentience. I'm a clairsentient medium, so that means I feel spirit. Sometimes I feel them very, very much. So I'll feel how they've died, if it's stomach cancer or won't be able to breathe because my lungs are filling with fluid. So emphysema or lung cancer. And
you did that with me.
Did I?
Yes, I had an uncle that died of a brain tumor.
Okay.
And you kept going, it's something in its head, its head.
Yeah.
It's hurting.
Yeah, hurting. Yeah, I often get the pain.
Hurting. Yeah, you did that with me. My Uncle Terry died.
Right. There's many different ways, but the cards and psychometry and the different tea leaves. My mother used to read tea leaves when she was young, and she was scarily accurate with the tea leaves. And when my dad found out about that was it. He stopped it.
No more tea for you.
No more tea for you. We're not reading no more tea leaves. So so he put a stop to that. Sadly for my mum.
Yeah.
And to explain, when you've got this energy coming to you, like your daughter, the reason it's coming is because it's designed. We're designed to then give it. If we don't work with it and we give it, it tends to sit, and then it turns not negative, but then the person that should be working with it often will suffer with anxiety, and fears and depression, because it needs to be recognized and brought out to be used.
Right.
Because they're old souls, they're light workers, and they're here to work with spirit and give the messages from spirit. And so with my mother, because she was restricted by my father and never worked with it, she got very depressed.
She did.
Very, very depressed. And her energy was very low and suffered a lot with anxiety and very rarely left the house. And and put a lot of weight on because she had all this smoked cigarettes and was very unwell with the whole thing. Yeah.
Aww.
Because she should have been working with the gifts that she was given, the ability to be able to communicate with the spirit realm.
She's trying to block it.
Yeah. And I think we're lucky these days because, we have this. So it goes out publicly and the world can see it and hear it. And there's many mediums now in the public eye. It's Tyler Henry and John Edwards and American mediums, UK mediums. And of course, we're exposed to it now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas years ago, when my mother was young, that exposure wasn't there.
Well, I mean,
to a degree.
They were witches, right?
Yeah,
witches and warlocks back in the day.
There you go.
I remember there was a lady in our hometown, not really our hometown, in our home community, one county over, named Mahaley Lancaster. And she was a witch. That's what everyone called her, a witch.
Yeah.
She was a psychic.
Sure.
My grandfather lost his wallet and he went to her and she went, "Oh, it's in your field in this row. You were plowing on your tractor, fell out of your pocket. It's in this row in the field," and it was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just a psychic.
That's right.
She's not a witch.
No.
But the police department used to go to her for cases, and she would help them. Yeah. Had actually helped them.
Yeah.
She would say something that would be helpful and that would lead them to something.
Yes.
So, and then there was a lady down the street that conjured. She conjured we called it conjured. I don't know if that's the right word, but I had warts on my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I had 30 warts on my thumb, and my mom had them burned off over and over. They just kept coming back. And I went to see her. Her name was Ivy Cosper, and I had to give her a penny for every wart.
Yeah.
And she put them in a jar, the pennies in a jar, and the warts went away.
Yeah.
They were gone.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know what she was. She was a healer.
Yeah.
Not a witch.
But that's exactly, but that's how it would have been labeled.
And everybody was scared to death of her.
Of course.
She was coming and you would cross the street, and I'm like,
right.
But then you take me to her and have me give her pennies for my warts.
Yeah.
But then my family, she actually lived right next door. Our family was very friendly with her.
Yeah.
But I would see people be scared of her.
Yeah, yeah.
And nowadays, nobody thinks twice about it.
No.
Compared anyway.
Yeah.
Compared to what we were, and not to mention Salem witch trials.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they were very real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that had been today, then I'd have been on some fire in somebody's garden right now.
You'd be in your buddy's attic on that cross.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so fortunate that it's more freer now.
Yeah.
Because I think to a degree, people are looking for something more now. Certainly with the state of the world and the conflicts and the COVID we've had, people are looking for something more.
Sure.
Which is understandable.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not a hugely religious individual. I've got to be honest with you. Religion isn't really the medium's friend.
No.
Based on the beliefs that they have.
No.
But I think people are looking for a little bit more than religion these days.
I agree. Faith is not religion based anyway.
No.
Faith is a belief.
Yes.
An unshakable, undeniable belief.
That's right.
There's something larger than you at play.
Absolutely.
And if you have faith, then you don't have to, but in my opinion, in my faith, I believe in everything you do because I believe there are so much that we don't know or understand.
That's right.
And it's really arrogant to think that something like what you do is not possible.
That's right.
It's a very arrogant person that goes, "That's bull. There's
right.
no way."
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is sit down with someone like yourself for half an hour, or for 10 minutes, for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And you go, "Okay, this is real." I mean, I remember when the lady was reading the poker cards, I was 20. And I went, "This is a crock.
Yeah.
There is no way this is real. It's poker cards." She's saying, "I'm moving to California." I was living in Georgia. "I'm not going to California. Crazy people live in California."
Yeah.
That's what I'd always been told.
Yeah.
All kooky, crazy people live in California. There's no way I'm moving to California. And then she told me about what I'd be doing for a living. And I was like, "No way. There's no way I'm doing any of that." She's out of her mind. She has no idea what she's talking about. And she knew everything.
Okay, true.
She knew everything, down to the fact that she told me I was going to have a daughter with long brown hair, which is Isla.
Yeah.
She told me my husband would travel for work and he had a crown on his head. She said, I don't know what the crown means, but it usually means that he's well known.
Okay.
So maybe a baseball player,
Okay.
maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Bert had 3 college scholarships for baseball.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
he's really well known.
I'm sure,
and he
yeah.
travels for work.
Yeah.
And it was all right.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Crazy. So,
Yeah. Mad.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's some people just, that clairvoyance is very, very, very good with them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can be a medium and not necessarily have that level of clairvoyance, and you can see and communicate with spirit.
Right.
But that's not what it's not what it's always about.
It's different, right?
It is different. We all function within the spirit realm slightly differently, yeah.
Completely. The lady with the pendulum didn't tell me anything about my future.
No, sure.
She only talked about my past life and my soul's past lives and experiences. And she didn't even say like, you're a farmer. She talked about relationships.
Yeah.
And who in my life today was a relationship from the past. And like with me and Bert, you could talk to him about maybe being less this father-son imbalance, getting it more balanced so you'd be more happy. That's the kind of stuff she talked about.
Sure.
No future.
No.
In her seeing.
No, that's right.
Nothing.
That's right. Because we all process information differently.
Right.
So we're given the gifts we're meant to have, and then we give how it's meant to be given.
Yeah.
So Peter, who taught me, was an amazing clairvoyant. Like he was a very good medium as well, but he's an amazing clairvoyant, and his ability to see was incredible. And the stuff he told me about me is all come true and all come right.
Amazing.
Yeah. Even to me being over here now. And he said to me, you'll do TV one day, have your own TV show, and da-da-da-da-da. And everything he's always said to me has come to pass. Yeah.
That's awesome. And now you're in development for a TV show.
Yeah.
Almost got your pitch platform.
That's right.
Ready to go. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what really fascinates me, what I think is amazing, is the physical healer like Ivy Cosper who got rid of my warts.
Yeah.
I don't need, how did she do that?
That's right.
How did she do that?
She just moved the energy. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Some of these healers are incredible. I'm a Reiki master as well.
Yes.
So I did my healing when I was younger. Most medium staff as healers. But yeah, some of the things I've seen over the years, because that's where Peter started his, because I remember him telling me he started off going to church to get healing for his back, because he had a major operation on his back and he was in constant pain. And the healers in the church took the pain away from him. And he said, well, this was so amazing, I'm going to go back next week and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And he wanted to then become a healer, but a medium told him, he said, no, you're going to become a medium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's not your path.
It's not your path, yeah.
That obstacle was removed probably so he could focus.
But it was the healing that got him started in terms of, his fascination with the whole thing, and how does this work, and why is my pain gone?
Yeah.
And where's it gone? And is it going to come back? And
Reiki's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Reiki changed my life when I was in my, I guess I was 20 when I saw a Reiki master for the first time. Walked in the door and he went, oh, you've got issues with your mother. And I said, I sure do. How'd you know that? He said, your whole left side is just totally screwed up.
Yeah.
And he also said, you have migraines, don't you? And I said, I do actually. Yes, I have migraines. And he said, first day, he said, I can help you with this, but there's no going back.
No, that's right.
So if you walk this path, you have to be ready.
Yeah, that's right.
Because everything's going to shift.
That's right.
And he was right.
Yeah.
And I remember him. He also was a massage therapist. So he combined deep tissue massage with Reiki.
Okay.
So he'd kind of move stuff around energetically and then start pulling it out of my body. And I had a lot of stuff in my shoulders and neck, which was what was causing some of my migraines. And I remember feeling like someone was pulling a string from between your fingers.
Right.
But it was coming out of my neck or shoulder.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre and amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
And I didn't have migraines again until I started going through menopause.
Right.
And then the migraines came back with menopause.
Yeah.
So, but the migraine was like one day a month, the same exact day every month.
Right.
So I was like, this is clearly hormonal.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing that was happening then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to see him for gosh, about 6 months, once a week. And he just kept pulling crap out of
Out
my
of
body.
you.
It was just gunk. I felt like it was just like, sounds gross, but like snot.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
pulling snot out of me.
Just rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah, just stringy, nasty,
Yeah.
like crap. It was really powerful. But
Yeah.
I think people think that's like, you know, make believe, or it's in my brain,
Yeah.
or my
Yeah.
brain decided to no longer have migraines.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's not. That's not what it was.
No, a lot of it emotion, a lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion that sits within the energetic body
Yes.
that doesn't get shifted.
Uh-huh.
So a healer can pull that emotion out, and that the feeling you were having was just that negative, that heavy emotion being dragged out of your body.
Yeah.
I do something called, I'm qualified in something called EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. So we use tapping. So we tap on the meridian points of the body.
Oh.
And I've shifted people's pain they've had for 5-10 years, and the pain has left within 2 sessions of tapping in front of an audience. I've done it in front of an audience, and they've gone, my God, the pain's gone.
Wow.
It's gone. So I say to them, well, it will come back, because the emotion that's aggravating the nerve endings, because it's the emotion that aggravates the nerve endings, isn't completely healed.
Right.
It's the emotion that's still in there that would just trigger again.
Right.
But yeah, it's amazing, incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the body is just fluid and electricity.
It is.
Electricity is conducted by water.
That's right.
And we're 70% water.
That's right.
So if someone, and you're electric also.
Yep.
So if your electricity is pulling on mine, it
Yep.
makes sense if you are just a scientist
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
electricity and conduit
Yep.
for electricity.
That's right.
all we
Yep.
are. The brain is a muscle that's electrified.
That's right. Exactly right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the very fundamentals, the very basics of humanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're 70% water, as you say, and electric.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's all energy. So the electricity is all energy. So
Yeah.
if you can tap into the energy, it's amazing what can be done.
It is amazing what can be done. That's for
Incredible.
sure.
Yeah. Incredible.
It's so powerful. I wish our culture embraced all of what you do,
Yeah.
all of what healers do, and clairvoyants and psychics and hypnotists.
Yeah.
Hypnotism I think is incredible also.
Yeah.
I've
Hypnosis,
never
yeah.
been hypnotized,
Okay.
but I know people who've been like, stop smoking, like
Yep.
boom, hypnotism done.
That's right.
Anxiety about ABC done.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just from that mental work, because I think people think it's like the old zombie pictures where
Yeah.
you're hypnotized and you go, oh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not
It's
it,
not- it's
right?
not like that at all. No,
it's
it
like
isn't like that.
manipulating your brain pathways, sort of. Isn't it?
It is. Well, it's tapping into the subconscious. Because I would say to you, you said you've never been hypnotized. I would question that and say I think you've been hypnotized a lot,
Really?
because we've fallen in and out of hypnotic states all the time. So if you're driving down the freeway, you're very alert, aren't you? You're very
Yeah.
alert of the cars and the trucks and the lorries and the motorbikes. You're very aware. And when you come home and you're sat in front of the TV with a glass of wine, your level of consciousness is dropped completely. You're
Yeah.
relaxed. Well, that is a hypnotic state in itself.
I guess so, if you put it like that. Yeah.
Because we're going in and out of hypnotic states all the time. All hypnosis is just a deeper state, just a more of a deeper, relaxed state.
Right.
And then being able to tap into the subconscious mind, because I've been trained in hypnosis as well. So I've gone through the full gamut of different things that I wanted to learn to improve my own life, to get over my own issues that are in the book also, but and the wanting to heal myself, to then want to heal other people and help other people through my experiences. But yeah, hypnosis is an amazing thing.
Yeah, I bet.
Incredible.
Yeah. Isn't that the journey always, to heal yourself so you can heal others?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always, because none of us are perfect, right?
Nope.
That never
Nope.
will ever be, or doesn't exist.
And don't you love that you're not perfect?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, so do I. It's a work in progress. It's always a work in progress.
I love it. Perfection's too hard to maintain.
It is. It
You know?
absolutely.
Why do you want to do that? It's just
Exactly.
too hard. And part of what makes people great is the underbelly. The part that's not so pretty.
Yeah.
I don't mean that, like you said, sinister, evil part. Not that, but the part that makes you interesting sometimes is the part that you don't want people to see all the time.
Absolutely.
I lost my temper recently, and I don't lose my temper often.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad about losing my temper. But a couple of weeks later, I actually was like, yeah, that's part of being human.
It is.
Sometimes human beings lose their temper.
They do.
And I spend all day, you know why that swan is on the wall? You told me in our session, you're like a swan. Everything above water is really smooth. And everything under the water is like this, all the time. So I told my friend that who bought me this painting because she was like, he is right. You are exactly that. Everything looks smooth on the surface, but underneath there's so much going on. But I thought to myself after I lost my temper and started yelling at people, which I don't think I've done that probably since I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
I thought to myself, that's what that little swan needs.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Maybe not to that extent, but to not be that.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's right. Well, we're human, right? So you've got to embrace every single part of yourself.
Yeah.
Didn't I mention to you in your reading? I can't remember, but didn't I mention you about getting a PA?
You did. Ask me if I have one.
Do you have a PA?
No. You know why? One of my flaws is I'm stubborn.
Okay.
I'm working on it. We actually just interviewed 2 or 3 people on Tuesday for that position.
Oh,
so I'm heading that direction.
That's really good.
I'm working toward it.
Really
I've been too busy getting other people in other places that have taken things off my plate.
Okay.
Like Christine, who was texting you about today.
Yeah.
She's not my personal assistant, but she books this podcast as well as Bert's 3 podcasts and his cooking show.
Okay.
So she's taken that. And Jennifer, who you probably met when you came in, has taken a lot off my plate. But none of these are just for me.
Sure.
That's the hard part, it's just for me.
Sure.
That's the part I'm stubbornly refusing to let someone help me. And I don't know why. It's really silly.
Yeah.
But we did interview 3 people on Tuesday. So
that's positive. That's really good.
It only took me how many months?
Yes,
when did I meet you?
It was nearly a year ago, I think. It's last summer, I think.
It was nearly a year ago. We're coming up on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible, yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're doing really well. So you're getting yourself there now.
The swan is making it happen.
That's right. Absolutely right. Yeah, that's really good.
But yeah, that was directly from your session.
Oh, okay.
That's
lovely. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I was listening. I just wasn't.
Good.
I'm not applying.
No, sure. Yeah.
I apply in my own time.
Yeah. I think we're all a bit like that. I'm the same,
I think so.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I really believe actually I did hire somebody after that. And I was frustrated with that person. It was frustrating. And then I went, forget it. I can't do this right now. I just don't have time to not train someone, but to communicate with someone what I need and how I need it and make it an effective relationship.
Sure.
And that person that I hired, it wasn't getting it. And so I just went, forget it. I don't have time for any of this.
No.
See, I told you I don't have time. I proved to myself that I was right.
Yeah.
But I really do need one now. So 3 people, we'll see.
Well, fingers crossed with that. That sounds good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And I hear you met my friend Romy.
He cut my hair a couple of weeks ago.
He did?
Yeah. He's such a great guy.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's such, and his partner, really, really nice people.
Aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have known Romy for 25 years.
He said,
Yes.
He said, yeah.
I absolutely adore him. And obviously I know Rico, but more recently.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been together for 25 years. But Romy's one of my favorite people on the planet.
He's a great guy.
Isn't
Such a lovely man. He's very, very gifted with his art, isn't he?
Isn't he?
Incredible. I've seen some of his artwork, yeah.
So gifted. And I just adore him. And I know I gave him your card or your number after I saw you the first time.
Yeah.
And then he just told me the last time that he cut my hair that he saw you.
Yeah.
So I have no idea when you guys started talking with each other.
It's been a little while, just after I saw you, actually. Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
He's just the best.
Yeah, he's a really nice man.
He is.
He's a good hairdresser as well.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He's been cutting my hair for 25 years.
Has he really?
He has. And you
Yeah.
know, when I first started dating Bert went to this like really cool Hollywood, like super hip, tattooed, pierced up guy who was like rock star cutting Bert's hair.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I think you should go see Romy because Bert's hair is thinning.
Yeah.
And, you know, when your hair's thinning, somebody really needs to know what they're doing.
Sure.
So because if they don't cut it right, it looks even thinner than it actually is.
Yeah.
The first time he went to see Romy, he was like, I'm never going to see anybody else.
Yeah.
My hair is so thick and full.
Yeah.
He just knows what he's doing. He's the best.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a lovely man.
He is. He's been a guest here too. And I need to have him back on.
Yeah.
We talked about finding his dad. I'm sure he's talked to you about finding his biological dad.
The last time I saw him, I said I was going to come and see you. And he said to say hello. Yeah.
I love him.
I do see him. I speak to him regularly. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
I get on really well with him. Nice guy.
He's not hard to get on well with.
Yeah.
No.
He's easy, isn't he? Yeah.
He's
easy. And you know, and Rico's a really nice guy.
Indeed, he is.
Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy.
He's very sweet.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to read your book. Okay, Reflections of the English Medium, right here. I'll put a link to your Amazon on our description.
Thank you.
So that they can just click and go.
Yes.
Does that work?
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon.
On Amazon. I can't wait to read it. I will read it as soon as I'm done with The Good Earth.
And then I'll look to do the audio one as well. So
you should. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would love to listen to you read the book. I'll read the book before you do that because that might take a minute.
Okay.
But I'll listen to it too because you have such a wonderful voice.
Oh, thank you.
You do. You have a wonderful, calming, soothing voice.
Thank you.
Be great to hear you read it.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely to see you again.
Yes,
So
you
lovely.
as well. I'm sorry it took a minute.
That's okay.
February, March were just a blur.
Busy lady, right?
We've been building this whole thing. I mean, we just bought this space in October.
Okay.
So I
done
finished
so well.
all of Bert's stuff by January 1st. It's been crazy.
It's been a task.
It's been crazy. And then I went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so I had to like get ready to go.
Yeah.
And now I've been decompressing.
That's it. Back at it.
Yes. You know, when you leave for vacation, work doesn't stop when you're gone.
No, it doesn't.
Nope. So you come back to 10 days worth of stuff stacked up. So I'm glad we finally made it work out.
And so am I. And I
Thank
thank you very much for seeing me. And
Yes.
I love chatting to you. It's been great.
Same here. I love seeing you and love talking.
Thank you.
It's great.
Yeah, good.
All right. Till next time.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.